Hi, good evening once again. It's Friday evening and time for Hold No Bars with yours truly, Manzoor Nadir on MTV just after 10:30 tonight. Tonight we're competing with the Warriors. Their match against the Trinidad Knight Riders. Interesting. What I'll do, I'll keep you posted with respect to the scores. Right now, it's 7.4 overs and we are 54 for 2. King was just adjudged LBW, and the match is evenly poised at this particular time. So we have competition from the Amazon Warriors so far, 9 out of 9. Last match for their season, and then it's playoffs on Sunday, all in Guyana. So 54 for 2, 7.3 overs, and we are just about on par with the run rate and just about what is needed if we go run a ball. Tonight, hold no bars, and we're going to speak about Elections Commission. We're going to give you an update on the Elections Commission, and we will speak about the claims and objections period. But I have a contest on tonight. Whoever guessed the word under my t-shirt, and if you guess that word, you'll get one of these t-shirts. It's not Hold No Bars t-shirt. If you guess what is the word that is across my chest, and there you go. You can see 4 of the letters there in the word. If you guess that, the first person to get it gets a t-shirt. Okay, so tonight, let's start with an update from last week. Last week, when we started Hold No Bars, we had Sace Gunraj, the PBPC commissioner, who was speaking about some inconsistencies with respect to the order signed by Justice Claudette Singh as against what was decided at the Tuesday GCOM meeting. GCOM meets every Tuesday at 1 o'clock, what they call the statutory meeting of GCOM. And there were clarifications. It ended up now that the claims and objections period will run for 42 and not 49 days as was put in the order. 42 days and not 49 as was put in the order. But we must remember that originally the commission had agreed on 35 days. 35 days. The order came out as 49. And then after Tuesday's meeting, it went to 42. So Justice Claudette Singh, the chairman of the Elections Commission, who is like an arbiter and a judge, but more particularly, she has to be fair and she has to be consistent with the law. So she ended up choosing and voting for 42 days. I'll come back a bit to that. There was a second point that Sace Gunraj made last week, and that was the requirement for people to visit registration centers with their birth certificate and or passport to verify, and maybe proof of address, to verify that they are still here. The person listed as them on the voters list, that voters list that came out a few days ago, was them. Now, there was strong objection. There was nothing like that in the law. However, that provision came in the law, and that was struck out. A new order was issued this Monday, which struck out the provision for you to have to visit a registration center if you are listed on the voters list as a form of verification. The run rate has slowed a bit. We're now at 55 for 2 on 8.2 overs, and Hetmai just struck a 4, so now we're at 59 for 2, sorry, in 8.3 overs. So we're just well on track with the run rate. And we're going to keep you posted on that match. Exciting match at the Providence Stadium. Just a few, as that they would say, a stone throw away from here. So, interesting about GCOM was the fact that somehow, not this Tuesday gone, the previous Tuesday, the commission as the governing body, as the board of directors, as those who are appointed to oversee and to make the policy decisions, had decided on 35 days for the claims and objections period. And when the order was issued, that was 49. Somehow, the chief elections officer, Lowenfield, a man who had applied for permanent sick leave, since the date was announced, he just got energized. And he's on the job every day. And more particularly, I understand he's arguing more within the commission, and he's just an advisor to the commission. He's not a member of the commission. As chief executive officer, he's the chief executor of policy decisions, and as chief elections officer, he's the man entrusted with ensuring that the laws are in place. There seems to be some rain at Providence. The covers are coming on right now. So he convinced, and this is how I'm getting it, I'm selling it. Somehow he convinced the Honorable Justice Claudette Singh that 49 days should be it. And I can't understand when a decision was taken at the level of the board for 35 and that was changed. And we haven't had an explanation as to how and why the 35 was changed to 49. So this is of grave concern, Chairman of the Elections Commission, Justice Claudette Singh. We don't want you to be giving one vote for this side and one vote for that side. We want you to stay on point, to look at the conventions under which we have operated in running our elections, and within the law. And within the law. That's what we want you to do. So 35 went to 49. Then the decision had to be recommitted this Tuesday, and it came down to 42. So I'm sure she took the halfway position. 42 is 7 days more than 35, and 7 days less than 49. Halfway position can't work. It has to be a position, Justice Claudette Singh, based on law and principle. And you said you're going to rule according to the law. You also have to rule on the principle that the board decision is sacrosanct. And a chief elections officer who has to guide you at the board level when the commission is meeting, not behind closed doors, and he's going to try and convince you to sign on to something which was never agreed upon by the commission. So, for me, this is a grave error here, and it not only had to be corrected, it has to be explained to the people, because we are trying to build confidence in the system, and especially we're trying to build confidence in the chairman. So that was one. How the 35 moved to 49 then had to be recommitted to 42. And then the second issue, how did this provision of voters who are on the list having to go to verified documents, how did that migrate into the order? And again, Justice Singh, you can't get the partisan leadership of the Secretariat to influence you. You may have to get an advisor attached to you. So this is my first comment in terms of the discussions and the decisions at the level of the commission. Viewers, we now have to speak about the claims and objections period. What is the claims and objections period? The claims and objections period is after the preliminary list is issued, then that list is open up for scrutiny. Individuals can scrutinize the list. Persons contesting the elections can go and check the list. They can do their own due diligence on the list. Persons, when they go house to house with this list to verify that person X is person X, then they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to inform voters. Like I might be living next to Ian Smith. So I checked it, and I know Ian Smith was recently naturalized as a Guyanese. And I say, you've been here for 2 elections. I didn't see your name on the list. And he says, you know what? I did register. So now he can take his old ID card, his passport, and he can go to the registration center and make a claim so that his name can go back on the list. As the parties check and they find that people don't exist, they can make an objection. And I'll tell you a little bit about the objection. A claim, you move from Mocha, Arcadia, and you went to Vrijslas. And you don't want to come all the way to Mocha to vote. You want to vote in Vrijslas. You can do a change of address. You got married, but in Guyana, men can't take their wife's maiden name. In some European countries, you can. I had a friend from Germany who we were traveling together, visiting St. Lucia, and he filled in his immigration card, and he put on the maiden name, he put Schmidt, because Schmidt was his maiden name. So the immigration officer asked him, where is Mrs. Hasters? He said, well, she is in Jamaica. And he said, but is she traveling? No. He said, but you have a maiden name? He said, yes, that's my maiden name, because in Germany, I can choose to take my wife's surname. So, very, very progressive. But if you've married within the period when you were issued an ID card and where you live, you can make a claim to change your name. So you can become Maria Hasters if you are Maria Prasad. And all you have to do is marriage certificate at the registration center. So you can make claims to go on the list. If a person was never registered, then they can visit the center and they can get registered. You have to check your list. Lists will be and are posted in very popular places. Let's say in Eccles here, we may see a list at Flamboyant Supermarket, the NDC office. There'll be lists there, you can check it. And I'm sure many of the political parties will be sending around their canvassers to check the list. So they can, I know one political party, the PPPC, has already done and a great number of visits to houses within several areas, including the Eccles-Ramsburg Neighborhood Democratic Council. And shortly what we will do, there are some hotline numbers which I can give Kevin that you can call in to check your name from different places. But if I have to give Kevin that, I may have to cut my phone off. Anyway, there are some numbers and I will get them publicized. The Elections Commission usually would put up the PLE, which is Preliminary List of Electors, on their site. The list has 646,000 names on it, and that is about 25,000 more than the list that was published last year, just before the local government elections. It's about 25,000 more people. So what you have to do is to check to see if your name is on the list. If you voted before, they had to use the same database, and they did use the same database, and your name should be on the list. But you can still check. You could also, if you don't have a means of checking the list, you can store my cell number, the 681-9312 number, and if you have WhatsApp, you can just message me, and I can send you all the numbers that you can call to check to ensure your name is on the list. It's very important that you check. More important too, that you spread the information to your neighbors, your friends, and your families, your family members, so that they can also go and check their names. Rain has stopped play. I think we're just about, I forget what the last score was, but rain has stopped play, and we are going to start play here. So maybe the rain has been very kind to us, so that we don't have to compete with cricket, and may come back on after we finish the program. So let's open the lines, the WhatsApp messages. You can send those. You can have, and yes, I think one person is saying I should name Manzoor Prasad. I don't have a problem with being taking the last name of the spouse. Yes, so the lines are now open. You can call. The Elections Commission, we gave you the update with respect to the two issues that we raised last week. One was corrected in the removal of the requirement for you to go and present your documents at the GCOM Center if you're on the list. That was removed. And then the 49 days for the claims and objections that was gazetted, that was reduced to 42, bearing in mind that it was 35 initially. Hi, good evening. Holo Bars, you're on the air. Okay, we cut them off, or they were tired. And then you have the contest if you can guess that word on the jacket. I can give you four of them there, and there is a t-shirt in it if you can guess that. I'll take it off. I'll expose more of the word when. On the cell phone, I'm doing a social media broadcast, so the number that's coming through right now, I'm unable to take you on the cell phone at this time, but if you call one of the numbers at the top of the screen, I will be able to take the call. There are a couple of persons who have been texting during the week and want to get on. I've said to them they're going to have to try and use the landline. So yes, claims and objections have started since October the 1st, and it will go for 49 days. But please do not wait until the last moment. Why? The faster you can do the check of your name on the list and make a claim for correction or inclusion or an objection, the quicker GCOM will start processing that paperwork. If you wait till the last minute, you'll get caught in the rush. Okay, the person, you're gonna have to tune down the volume, turn it down. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Manzoor Nadir. The name of the t-shirt is Hooligan.
Oh, shucks. Well, here what you're gonna have to do, right?
Hooligan.
Yeah. Well,
and my name is David Ramjohn.
David Granger.
David Ramjohn.
Oh, Ramjan. Hey, David.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
And your t-shirt name is Hooligan.
Gotcha. You're correct. Okay. So, well, I remember I started this hooligan campaign from 2 Thursdays ago, right? So this is the official hooligan t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll have to do, the 6819312 number.
Yeah.
David, give me a message on that, and we'll make the arrangement to get that t-shirt to you.
I have someone that's be wrong by your office name Rafael Gonzal. Could I ask him to correct it for me?
Yes, you can.
You know Rafael Gonzal?
Yes, you can.
I normally be with Rafael Gonzal.
Okay, David. Thanks.
I will tell him, yeah, okay. Thank.
Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
So good, right? How are you?
Quite well. Good evening.
I just want to make some inquiries in relation to the list, the verification of the list.
Mm-hmm.
my name is on the list. I'm residing in the state address for X amount of years. I have not been moved. But my profession has been changed. Do I have to go and change my profession on the list, or that would be okay?
It wouldn't be critical because they still have me listed as a minister, even though the work left me some a long time
The
ago.
fact that I want to know, because you know how the APNU the GCOM are going right now. They have to be very meticulous and very critical, because they will say, "Oh, yeah, you're Mr. X and you live here. Yes, that is your ID number. Yes,
Yeah.
but your occupation does not fit into. I want to know if that is a problem."
Well, I think you're raising a good point. Maybe I should go and change it too because they still have Barjack. They will listed as
Yeah,
president.
because there could be some sort of, there could be some person, "Oh, you're not the same person that is on the
Yeah.
list. You're a minister at that time, but you're not a minister. You're a beggar now.
Exactly.
You're a hooligan now. So you
That's a better word.
okay, well, so later.
Good man, take care. Good observation. Yes, I'm a hooligan now. I wear this badge proudly. It was given to me by David Granger, so I have to wear this very proudly. When you get an honor from the president, wear it. So yes, officially I moved from minister to beggar to hooligan. Right? So good. Okay, so let me see. All the messages are clear. The rain is coming down. I don't think it will last too long. The covers are still on, and the Amazon Warriors and Trinidad Knight Riders. Bitter battle between the two. We have taken first blood this year, beating them at home, and now this is the rematch. Yes, so with respect to the claims, hi, good evening, you're online.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Nadir.
Hold no bars, go ahead.
Okay, now, I want to find out something from you before I make my comment.
Sure.
I should only speak about the claims and objections only.
I mean, if you should only speak. No, you can speak about anything.
Now, well, okay, well, I'll go ahead. Now, the Minister of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Cummins, or what's her name?
Yeah, Dr. Karen Cummings, medical
Yeah.
doctor.
Now, she made some statements over the newscast.
Right.
I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. That the ABC people,
Right.
these are the ambassadors at the station here, that they had no, it had no way for what they've been saying to condemn
Right.
government. It wasn't called for. That was our words.
Right.
It was not called for. Now, I want to ask you, if she say that these people had no, it wasn't called for them to say these things. Was it called for Mr. Ranger to forget anything about the no confidence motion?
Exactly.
You see, so this is how I'll balance it. If it wasn't called for these people to say these things, how it is that Mr. Ranger could have said what he said, or what he do?
He put us in this position and nobody else.
I know that, but what I'm saying now, I am calling on Mr. Ranger for him to make either an apology to this society of this country, right, or for simple is to throw in his passport and forget about traveling.
Exactly.
Because he's traveling on a boat without a compass. You know what I mean?
Good.
And then he's going all over the place and talking what he wants to talk, calling people hooligans and all these type of things, and just doing what he wants to do, and have his ministers talking the opposite language.
Right.
The opposite language wouldn't take no one nowhere in this country. This country has 6 races. And this is what Mr. Ranger forgets.
Yeah.
Okay, Skipper, good night.
Good observation, man. Thanks for coming through. Okay, so yes, excellent. Dr. Cummings, remember Dr. Cummings? Hi, good evening. You're on the air. Hold no bars.
Hi, good evening, Mr. Nadir.
Good evening.
As a citizen, I would like to know now when the president call the proclamation
Uh-huh.
with a date.
Mhm.
Is it from that date the 3 months will be counting?
No, no.
Okay.
Basically, what happens is from the time Parliament
Yeah.
pass a no confidence motion,
Yeah.
the 3 months start to count,
Okay.
right? And let's say we didn't have a no confidence vote,
Yeah.
and he didn't dissolve Parliament himself.
Yeah.
Parliament first met on the 10th of June 2015.
Yeah.
The law says that if there is no dissolution of Parliament, Parliament will stand dissolved on the day it first met, right? That's June the 10th.
Yeah.
And then elections must be held within 3 months,
Yeah.
right? A president can wake up tomorrow
Yeah.
and under normal circumstances and say that I am going to have elections in 2 months.
Yeah.
That's the prerogative of the president.
Yeah.
And if a president wakes up and decides that he's riding a wave of popularity and he wants to call elections now, he can dissolve Parliament and set a date. There are some statutory timelines that he has to give, right? Between nomination and, but he doesn't have to stick within 3 months. He can do it at a shorter time, right?
Yeah.
He can do it at a shorter time.
Because I was looking at that, and then the other part, I was looking at the mediocre AG that Guyana have,
Mm-hmm.
and the announcement that was the press conference, what he was making,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that if the opposition don't go back,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with crisis and this, all the baggage of excuse.
Right.
Yeah. So I was watching. I wanted to know because according to what the president was saying is like the 2nd of December. Then he's going to proclamation and dissolve the parliament. So that is when he counting it so he can get to March the 2nd in that 3 months.
Basil Williams is a extinct species.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, because I haven't seen anybody who's supposed to have gone through the education and training and acquire some amount of exposure, I want to say experience, and still come up with this
Yeah, well,
garbage.
according to our leader, Mr. Jack Dio, the right name for he is the lunatic. Because he mentioned it on it, he's the lunatic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a hooligan and a lunatic.
Yeah.
Okay, pal, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Basil is an embarrassment, man. Yes. He counted, man, he's crazy. There's nothing like that. Nothing like counting from December the 2nd, right? Then 3 months. The 3 months was from the 21st of December. Counting 3 months, you should have had elections by March the 20th. After we went through all the processes, the CCJ made reference to the 3 months. They gave their decision on June the 18th, and we said September 18th. We gave them 3 more months. Hi, good
Hi,
evening.
good evening.
Go ahead.
Mr. Nadir, I want to ask you a question.
Sure, if I can answer, I will.
If you're on holiday abroad during the period of claims and objection, what will happen to you?
You got to come back. If you're not on the list, if you haven't been registered, right?
Yeah.
And you're not on the list, let's say you have a daughter who did well at Cape and you send them on a little vacation for right?
Yeah.
And you want to get them on the list and they were never registered, then you're going to have to bring her back.
So why they on the list already?
You don't got to worry.
Okay, because my mama be on holiday.
No. Just make sure she's on the list. Once she's on the list, it's okay.
Okay.
Right? And if you want, you can call me tomorrow or Monday, and I'll give you some numbers you can call to verify that she and every family member is on the list. Right?
Okay.
Okay, good, thanks.
Number at the bottom there?
681-9312, that's the cell number.
At the bottom there?
If it's that, I'm not seeing that far on the screen.
618
No, 681
681 93. Yeah.
Best to give me a WhatsApp message and I'll be good. Right?
Okay.
Thanks. Take care. Yes, so if you're away You can get someone to check that your name is on the list. And once your name is on the list, don't worry, nobody can take you off. Hi, good evening. Hold no bars.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
All is well. And yourself?
Selected or see?
Yes, go ahead, Chief. You can buy one, you know.
Hey, boss man.
Tell-
Thank you.
Hello?
That's my what I ask now.
Uh-huh.
Because the president Jakarta,
No, I didn't hear nobody calling the president names.
well, the president is a
We-
total.
Okay, so we were talking about Basil Williams, right? We were speaking about Basil Williams. And Granger has lost my respect calling him president. After elections, the different story. But now he is nothing but a usurper and a dictator. Good. So he has put himself in that position where I'm concerned. Okay, so those, I don't know if Kevin, if you could take down, or don't take it down, but the 681 number, send WhatsApp messages because I have a social media broadcast happening on that at the moment. Hi, good evening, you're on the air.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Hello? Good evening. Okay, a shy person or a person who wants to tap the phone. Yes, claims and objections for 49 days. If your name is on the list, then you are a registered voter and you're appearing on the list, you can vote. Hi, good evening, you're on the air.
Oh yeah, talking about great, just lose your respect and that kind of thing.
Go ahead, you're on the air.
Oh yeah, just talking about great, just losing your respect and that kind of thing, man.
Yeah, you on the air, I give my opinion, I'm allowing you to give yours.
Yeah, so I ask you a question and want you answer.
Yeah, he should have had elections since before March 21st this year.
No, but they make sense. You have a right to have election whenever you're ready for it.
Nope, not after no confidence motion. You're absolutely
They
wrong.
make sense, man.
You're
Talking, it
it,
makes sense.
it mightn't make sense, but he should have had elections. He put himself in this position. Right? And that's my view. You're entitled to yours. Okay? Great. So we can differ and we can be respectfully different. And my position is very strong that if you claim to be a lover of democracy and having the support of the people and you lose in parliament, right? Call the elections. Hi, good evening, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hi, good evening, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Nadir.
Go ahead, you're on the air.
Hello.
Go ahead, you're on the air. We're hearing you.
I'd like to tell you this question, right?
Uh-huh.
They're so bright they have to go at the CJ for find out to
33 and 32.
find out for 33.
Uh-huh.
They're so bright.
Right.
They're so qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And they're fighting for 34 is the majority.
Okay. Good man. Thanks. Okay, yes. So, one person very upset. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Nadir, Granger lock you up for the building.
Okay. She is a broken record. She is stuck at one place. Yeah. Hey, Granger should lock me up. Why don't you give him the evidence? Let him come and lock me up for the High Street building. I'm here. I ain't running nowhere. Hi, good evening. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good day to you, Mr. Manzoor Nadir.
Good evening.
How is everything?
All is well.
All right. Mr. Marjambi, right? They came to CCJ. Watch you follow the Constitution rights.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want no thought term against him.
Exactly.
And he stand for that.
Right.
Right? And if he do that now, what will cause it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, watch everything PPP follow direct and right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And this is now over a year now we coming at?
Yeah.
And more than a year.
It's going to be more than a year.
Yeah, so why
Yeah.
can people see what's going on?
Right.
It's just, you don't know, well, All right, good. Good night to you. Thank you for hearing my concern.
Great, man. Okay, so I think there's still rain. The covers are still on. The calls are coming through. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay. Yes. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Manzoor,
Go ahead.
the previous caller who said that the illegal president should lock you up, right?
Right.
I want to know why they don't go investigate the GCOM, make a false declaration. Lock up them who's going to walk now.
But
That is why she should have gone investigate for lock up. Now, man, like you could have put the TV and said, he's illegal, man.
yeah, exactly. You know. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks to the defense. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Good night.
Good evening.
Oh my God, man. Them might hold on till the 5 year done.
Yes, they almost, because I think when was the elections? May the 12th, right? Some.
You know, thing them deserve.
Yeah.
But the other thing, serious about this election, do we have this internet and we have television and we have all the latest electronic things? This 700,000 people in Guyana, can we put it on the internet and run the people names? So we can know if my name is on or your name.
Okay, I'm sure we are working to put that up at least on the PPPC social media platforms, so that you can go and check. I know GCOM used to have it up, right? They used to have something called the Alpha List, where your name is in alphabetical order, and something called the Isha. And all you had to do, you type in your name,
Right.
and it pops up, right? And name and address, and within 3 to 4 seconds, your name will pop up.
And the other thing, finally, if ABC minutes, ambassador in the last election, they mentioned that we must try to get electronic vote. This don't work towards this. This is our fault. If we go at a polling place and we see a name and we cannot vote, there's a kind of backwardness, I think.
Well, it might be, but on the other hand, sometimes people are very skeptical about electronic voting. You have to have a number of things in place, but the PPPC has put forward before that we should have electronic voting. And this is how the electronic voting basically will verify and prevent. You had to get some kind of biometric, right? And then you would also get a printout, and the printout goes in the box. So you'll have a capacity to check the records that came out of the electronic process and verify it also against the box. So yes, Barjagdio and the commissioners did advance and did make a call for electronic voting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good. It's interesting things are coming up tonight. But hi, good evening. It's coming fast and furious. Good evening. Good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, good evening. Mr. Manzoor,
Go ahead.
you talking about democracy. I appreciate what you're talking about people, but you know that PSP are the first political party who don't have democracy. Could you remember when Janet Jacob was swearing away the rest? Would you remember? I want you to sit there as a parliamentarian and you tell me that anything that PPP do in government, do it without fraud. I want you to tell me something that PPP do in government for 23 years without fraud.
Without fraud.
Without fraud.
There are plenty, and we're gonna get a chance. And
Name me one. Please name me one. Please name me one that PPP do without fraud. And tell me the most.
We've had on the PPP free and fair elections since after 1992 without fraud, even though they were challenged. We had many. Thanks a lot. So you actually want to give you one, right? And you can always invite me for a debate, and you can buy an hour on MTV, and we can have a nice exchange on the internet, right? Okay, so we have a message coming through on What's up? The PNC wants to rig the election, and the members of the commission will help them. Well, a lot of suspicion there about rigging elections. Hi, good evening. You're on the air. Hold no bars.
Good evening, and how are you?
All is well.
I've listened to your program, and I heard somebody spoke of the Minister of Foreign Affairs statement
Right.
concerning what
Mm-hmm.
the ABC country said.
Right.
And, I'm wondering to myself,
Mm-hmm.
when Priya Manik Chan would have got on the podium and abused those persons out in the worst possible way,
Mm-hmm.
it was good then.
Mm-hmm.
But when the minister, in her judgment and her intellect, spoke of, she would have committed a crime. And then we speak of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are not qualified to use those words, democracy.
Mm-hmm. I'm giving you a chance to speak. Okay, thank you very much. So that caller seems to have made her point. And the people will judge who are more qualified to speak about democracy and who are not. Hi, good evening. You're on the air. Hold no bars.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Why did you cut the man off? Why did you answer the man's question?
I answered him. He asked for one, so I gave him one. I gave him more than one. So,
no, you did not. You did not give him anything tangible.
Oh, tangible.
I want to know.
Yes.
You standing there.
Yes, tell me.
You picked a presidential candidate with 19 SWAT charges and you are welcoming. And Jagdeo under his watch. So much crime and so much killing happened under his watch. And you are with it. What kind of people is y'all? You tell me what kind of people is y'all?
So charges is a conviction.
That's right.
Charges is a conviction.
If you charge in America, you get jail right away.
No, man, you're mixing up apples and oranges. A charge is not a conviction. A charge is not a conviction, right?
He's supposed to don't resign as well as presidential candidate. He's supposed to resign. Yeah? What kind of nonsense y'all be everywhere they come in the air and talking bullshit?
Okay. Okay, I can't, certain words we can't allow to be aired, and that BS we can't deal with. But you're not being fair to yourself. A charge is not a conviction. The coalition administration has taken a number of PPPC former officials to court on trumped-up charges. So far, the overwhelming majority of them have been dismissed. Irfan Ali is being charged with something. He's not convicted. A charge is not a conviction. And we in the PPPC have full confidence that these are trumped-up charges, and he will be vindicated like almost everybody else. Hi, good evening. Good evening, you're on the air. Hold no bars. Go ahead. Okay. Yes, so that's my response to the caller and who were talking about our qualification or disqualification with respect to speaking about democracy. Well, I'll tell you, I didn't see Donald Ramatar try to hold on to power when there was the no confidence motion table against him. I didn't see Bar Jagdeo saying, and the person who took the two-term limit to the CCJ, I didn't hear them saying, if they're associated with us, that forget about the CCJ, they can't rule over we. Don Hastings, I forget about this, that we are a sovereign country. Good? We didn't say so. Every single thing the PNC wanted in terms of their own scrutiny, reassurance, that they wanted included in elections law since 1992, we gave them. every single thing. And for a greater part, I was along with them in the opposition. They got it. So, this is my sorry. Hi, good evening. I keep forgetting that we have called. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, good night.
Good evening.
Like tell you something and talking about it.
Oh shucks. I accidentally cut that person off. Wanted to hit the volume down button. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hi. Good night, brother.
Good evening.
Can I ask a question, please?
If I have the answer, I'll volunteer a response.
Okay. How long these people going to be in power for punish Guyanese?
Mm-hmm.
How long these people going to be in power for fool Guyanese?
Mm-hmm.
How long these people going to remain in power for take advantage of innocent people?
Mm-hmm.
Every single day you see people crying, they ain't getting job, they ain't getting business,
Mm-hmm.
they ain't getting food. How long they don't have a heart? When they gonna call the election, why they running?
Mm-hmm.
People like we put them in, I can tell you plain, and regret terrible.
Great. Well, thanks for coming through and sharing your passion with respect to the governance of our country. Thank you. Hi, good evening. You're on the air. Cricket has restarted, by the way. Hello, good evening.
Operator.
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Nadir.
Good evening.
I go for this of political best you got on there because I know.
No, there's a hooligan vest.
I know you retire. I only seen the OLI. So I know that's all this political.
No, it's hooligan, it's hooligan.
You know, when Miss Janet J got throw that writ over her shoulder, right?
Uh-huh.
You know what was the response?
Uh-huh.
The whole registry was a conflagration.
Uh-huh.
This man ain't here illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And anything similar to that going on?
Nope.
So they're comparing these incidents with the killing. Who was killing who was it? Who was the 5 escapees? Who was the
we have to say who helped the 5 escapees come out.
And the gang, who was the handlers? Huh? They're talking like as if it's the PPP and Mr. Jack was killing. Well, that's all for it, you gonna allow that?
Of course.
All right. Somebody said the foreign minister, Karen Cummins, she made some statement to the United Nations Secretary General.
Right.
On Guyana.
No, about the diplomats in Guyana, and the other people outside of
I
Guyana.
want to read this thing. I think Susan said she made some statement that Guyana is in a state of calm and that she could go to the market and so on.
Yeah, she did.
I don't want to respond to that. I think the government is misinterpreting or misrepresenting to the UN that the crime in Guyana is evidence that the people have accepted the imposition of an unconstitutional government and are content with their present status quo. Far is it from the truth. The present opposition and its supporters have had a history of being pacifists in nature, meaning they are opposed to protests that are destructive and hawkish in nature, but are more inclined to solicit international intervention as a way of providing a comprehensive and inclusive global involvement into matters that are convoluted or very intricate politically. Right? So this calm that they're talking about, you got to say, still waters run deep.
Thank you very much.
All right, brother. Thank you. Thanks, brother.
Okay, well, we just lost another wicket. It's tense. We just started back, and we've slowed down 62 for 3, 9.2 overs. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, sir.
I can't take you 2 times, right? No, the rule is you only get it through 1 time, right? Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Hi, Miss Manzoor.
Good evening.
I was watching a program over but I feel like a topic.
Uh-huh.
But the topic I want to say, like, I don't know, like, we have 65 members in Parliament.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are leaders, right?
Right.
They take the oath
Mm-hmm.
to protect, to serve, whether they're opposition
Uphold the
or whether
Constitution.
government.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's 65 and
Right.
the president makes. Right? And yet we are in this corrupt confusion situation. We have 65 leaders sitting in Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
they are leaders. When you sit in parliament, you sit on a higher seat. And when you take that higher seat in parliament, you is like more like like a president. Right? And then now we have all this corruption. When you sit in parliament, you don't bring your this one problem and that one problem like kindergarten, you fight like kindergarten, school picking this one down, that one down. When you sit
Kindergarten,
in
school children don't fight like that, man.
The people concerned, the nation, and what you get paid in parliament for, not like fighting like kindergarten, school children in parliament. Parliament is the highest seat of this country, right? And when you have 65 people that take an oath, right? We have 65 presidents actually in this country, and yet we have this, what we call it. I ain't got an answer to call it.
Well, thanks a lot. Made a point. Good. So we just have about 10 minutes remaining on the program. Remember, we started off with 2 issues last week. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening, Manzoor.
Good evening.
All right, force. Now, when there is a no confidence against the government, as the 99% of the people say it's a bad government, that person who is running for presidency or was the president for that party should not be running again because the people have no confidence in him.
Well, you can't say that's some reasoning, but not the Constitution.
Okay, I hope when we change the Constitution, we put that inside so we wouldn't get the man like Ranger going back again and running for.
No, but if I get a vote of no confidence against me, and my party can continue to put me up, you see they're putting themselves up for failure.
Right. So it's karma upon them back again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
From the beginning, karma on them.
And you know, I watched a video a little while ago because Granger on May the 1st at Stabrook Market did say that never again will we have a president who disobeys the legislature. Right? Disobeys. And Ramatar didn't have a vote of no confidence. He chose, which the Constitution gives him the right to do. Right, to dissolve Parliament sooner. Right? So he said never again. And I'm still around to see him eat and choke on those words.
I'm so ashamed because people ask me that overseas.
Yeah.
How come a man who was having no confidence against him going back for presidency?
Exactly.
Right, and I'm so ashamed as a guy to say, well, that's not in our Constitution, as you just said.
You know, and I use when this vote of no confidence was first carried, I used David Cameron as an example. David Cameron was Prime Minister of England and leader of the Conservative Party, and he was pro-European Union.
Right.
When the Brexit vote came out, by the smallest of fraction, Britain chose to leave the European Union.
Right.
David Cameron said, this is a referendum on my leadership also.
Right.
And I have tendered my resignation.
Immediately.
Right?
Right.
We had a delegation of members of parliament that went to Ottawa. I think it was a few years ago. Baby Shadiq and I represented the PPPC, Father Lawrence, and another person represented the coalition, right? And this is not law, but convention. In Canada, any money bill that goes to the House is treated as a vote of confidence.
Right.
So if you lose on any money bill, the government will resign as a matter of principle, not law.
Right.
As a matter of principle.
And that's what he should have done, resign on matter of principle too.
He didn't even, all he had to do was call the elections.
Right. And one more thing. Now, I hear some people are saying that Barrett do all the killing and so. Those are criminals, and criminals, we have to get rid of them. And human rights, you see, human rights is not even standing up for say, well, let it call the election or nothing. And human rights is picking up for all these criminals. We have to get rid of criminals. We don't need criminals to mine in them. We the state must mine criminals.
No, well, they have laws, right? And they have penalty associated with certain crimes, right?
Yeah.
we still have the death penalty for murder, right?
Right. We should hang them out.
So yes, we have a prerogative to hang them if
Don't worry,
convicted.
human rights don't support this country.
But the people still have to get due process, right?
Yeah, when they finish getting due process, this you mine them for 10 years, and after that you hang them.
So we have to go through some of these things. Outside of that, I want to say to those who talk about Bar Jagdeo and who killed who and who killed who, look at what even the prisons
What's going on right now?
Two successive prison riots, putting we top in the world in terms of this kind of bad behavior and killing and so forth.
And he want to run for prime minister. Like he couldn't even control the criminals.
Well,
for prime minister.
but maybe we can end this program tonight. The last 5 minutes.
Well, you know, you don't see too good. Say,
No. I wouldn't have that. You know, our eyes not being straight is a matter for the muscles, and Dr. George Norton is one of the best in doing the corrective surgery to keep the eyeball in a certain position, right? But the news this week is David Granger saying it's not automatic that the AFC will be allowed to nominate the prime ministerial candidate for the coalition ticket. So Kemraj is not, I'm saying, Kemraj is not going to get the nomination. The coalition, the PNC, will put up back Moses again for prime minister. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You know what I should do, Big Boss? I should go around the area, man. Come all about like the hoop and Colombia and...
People will come. People are coming.
And keep meeting, go around meet the people them.
Okay, the first thing we have to do now is to come house to house, which we're doing, and check the list with you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing, to make sure your name is on and to ensure that they don't have any false name. That's what we're doing right now. So please spread that word, right?
Right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Hi, good evening. Okay, we just about 10:27. Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yeah, good night, sir. One example, the Prada Field, right?
Yes.
The Prada Field was a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, right? If you check the Parfait Harmony, the diamond, all the properties sell under value. It just was 50,000, 70,000. And that was issue for the PNC government, I could say,
Right.
And do check it now. If you go anywhere in this country, you ask everybody who have a land, there's all type of race, all type of people own land there. And why the Brazzaville was an issue. And if you check Horman, you check every one of them.
Right.
You see the places what they have. And you check the value, even to Sherwin Duncan. Everyone that have more, and still, anything under the PVC there is blind, PNC is blind eye.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. No, and I think this is going to be one of the principles in terms of dealing with the case, because the government has always had a policy, whichever government, of giving subsidized house lots to people, right? Even if you take Eccles, right, here. The first part of Eccles, AA, people paid between $1.5 $750,000 million for it. The back part of Eccles, BB, people paid like $58,000 for it. Just 2 streets apart. I'll take 2 more callers for the evening. Hi, good evening. You're on the air.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Nadir.
Good evening.
I noticed that there are times when you're conveniently not answering questions when people pose it to you. And then the next time you entertaining people who don't even have enough facts. I heard the person talking about comparing Pradoville with other places.
Right.
Which no evidence. Both you and I know that, he hasn't no evidence. You yourself have no evidence that's been honest. But we know that Pradoville, it was on the value. Concerning Priya Manichan, she did use up the diplomat. Yet you guys is pretending that you don't understand what Priya Manichan do, but you know what it means to. I'm not defending him, but I'm saying when you guys do wrongdoing, there's no when Donald Ramatar as minister when they had the when the budget was cut, every year he spent the money and that was illegal.
It wasn't illegal. I think you got your facts wrong, right? And I'll cut you off because time is going. And they went to court with respect to some of the cuts, and the court restored it. Just as they objected with respect to the Chief Justice, and they could have gone to court and appeal that. But time is up. It's been a very, very interactive program. Let's take the last half of the cricket. We're at 7-3 for 3 in 11.1 overs. Puran hit at 6 just now, and it's going to be a nail-biting finish. But from all of us here, thanks for being part of our program once again. We thank you, and we wish the Warriors well on Sunday in a doubleheader, and look forward to next week as we approach the first full week of claims and objections, and as we prepare for the 2nd of March. The arguments will go to and fro on all sides. The arguments will go in favor of many times and against. But the bottom line is, who tried to steal this country for the last 10 months rather than go to elections? And maybe that is the question for next week. So once again, thanks, and you have a great rest of the evening.